You're not gonna believe this. This guy kept bugging me. He goes, go to this site on the dark web. It's really crazy interesting. I've gone down those rabbit holes. I've read a lot of weird conspiracy stuff. And he goes, no, check this out. The long and short of it, an expose on Richard Nixon. So I've pretty much read everything, or so I thought. He then sent me a documentary that was shelved. It exposed a lot of stuff about Richard Nixon that people didn't want out there. So I'm going to share it with you here. Don't share this with anyone else. Don't talk about it. And then in the comments, let me know if you think this is real, because it blew my mind. Anyway, without further ado, insane facts you didn't know about Richard Nixon. Check it out.
Watergate was a major political scandal in the United States that occurred from 1972 to 1974 during the presidency of Richard Nixon, the country's 37th president. It began on June 17, 1972, when several burglars connected to Nixon's re-election campaign were arrested in the offices of the Democratic National Committee, located in the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. The burglars had been wiretapping phones and stealing documents as part of their operation. Nixon took aggressive steps to cover up the crimes, but his involvement in the conspiracy was eventually revealed. This has been public knowledge for some time. However, here are some unreported facts that never made it into any public record. The source of these facts remains anonymous. A package was recently mailed to Anderson Cooper, with no return address. Inside were various storage devices which contained volumes of declassified information about Richard Nixon, purportedly authored by FBI agents from the U.S., KGB agents from Russia, and a couple of pool hustlers from Kansas City named Grimy Z and Shitty P, and they are believed to have mailed the package to Mr. Cooper. The following information is what was found in that package. Richard Nixon was a serial killer. In these reports, he is said to have killed more than 40 people. One wonders, how was he able to leave and re-enter the White House to perpetrate these crimes without being detected by the Secret Service or anyone else? The official answer is lycanthropy. Lycanthropy is a term which describes a person transforming into a wolf or a wolf-like creature. The concepts of lycanthropy have a long history and are often associated with folklore, mythology, and supernatural tales. Nixon would transform himself into a wolf. He would then evade the Secret Service by appearing as a harmless dog, which they would pay no mind to. He would then commit his crimes as the transformed creature. Once his bloodlust was satisfied, he would then re-enter the White House as the wolf, and once inside, transform back into Nixon as a man to carry on as normal. Nixon was responsible for causing the 1972 earthquake, which happened in the Central District of Gir, in Cuisine County, Fars Province, Iran. On February 15, 1972, at 5:36 local time, the earthquake Nixon created had a magnitude of 6.7 on the Richter scale and caused the destruction of Gir and serious damage to towns and villages in the surrounding area. How did he do this? Geokinesis. Nixon possessed the gift of geokinesis. Geokinesis is a term used to describe the ability to mentally manipulate and control the earth and its elements, which include rock, soil, sand, and other materials. Nixon is believed to have caused another 9 earthquakes before he resigned. He kept his geokinesis a secret, and would sometimes use it to do light gardening. Nixon was a practitioner of Crithomancy. Crithomancy is a form of divination by the study of barley cakes in hopes of drawing omens from them. The paste of cakes are closely examined, and the sought-for answers are drawn from the flour spread upon them in random patterns. It was in use among the ancient Aborigines that lived in the Americas. Nixon owned D. Parquet Bakery at 1310 Union Street in Washington, D.C. He was believed to have purchased this bakery for the sole purpose of divining desirable foreign and domestic policy legislation. Pat would often ask him why he had white powder on his suit when he would return home. He would say he had been at a bakery, but she just thought he was snorting cocaine, which he never did, although he was reported to have baked hash brownies for friends. Now, here are some more unknown facts about Richard Nixon. He was a half-speed reader. He was able to slow his normal rate of reading to 50% less than what would be standard. He could take up to a month to finish a book at half speed, when he could finish the same book in 2 weeks at normal speed. His favorite laundry soap was Tide. He had awards and plaques for serving on the board of Tide Cheerleaders and Soothsayers. It was a moot point though, because he always sent out for all of his laundry, and never knew what soap they used. This was a pity for Richard. He loved to put his ear to the wall of his bedroom and listen for ghosts. He would wish, with all of his might, that the ghosts in the walls would talk to him or tell him stories. He had to imagine this to gain any satisfaction from cupping the walls, because the ghosts never said a single word. In his fantasy, the ghosts would say things like, "Richard, here is the story of a cat named Ember," or something along those lines. He would wait for the story to be audible, but it never was. He then thought that maybe he was suggesting stories which were too specific for the skill of the silent ghosts, and started to tell the non-communicating ghosts to choose their own tales. They never did. In his first few months in office, President Nixon used to like to refer to himself as the Nixon Man, Shamalam, and General Custard. He would ask his staff and family members to refer to him as these made-up names, but no one ever would. He would periodically change the names he wanted to be referred to. Each time the president came up with these bizarre nicknames, he would request his staff and family members to refer to him with one of those, but no one ever would. He never stopped coming up with stupid new names for himself, but it seemed to be a lonely exercise in futility. He always felt there was a chance one of these nicknames would stick, and everyone would call him that. He documented this in one of his many personal diaries. Here are some excerpts. Dear Diary, I came up with many new nicknames today, after tea and cake. Hopefully, someone will call me these eventually. I guess I need to work on my persuasion techniques. Anyway, here are today's wonderful new ideas for what I would like people to call me. They are President Mofo Nixon G, Mr. Prezi, Ted Koppel, Richard the Lion-Hearted, Mr. Liver Wings, Poppycock Lockerman Mountain Face. I thought of a few more. I think if I just keep thinking of new nicknames, and keep asking my family and staff members to call me those, it will eventually come to pass that all of my dreaming will pay off. Then I can be addressed as I wish. Good night for now. Oh, by the way, I baked Howard and Gordon some hash brownies today. They thanked me and said the high was really clean. Liddy said he felt like his body was floating inside a bathtub, inside a peacock, inside 2 refrigerators that have grease and bobby pins lodged in the sealant strip that goes around the plastic edge that seals the door. I think that means he feels my hash brownies were stellar. That makes me happy because William from my bakery taught me how to make them really good by using a lot of butter on the front end and slowly infusing coconut oil into the batter before baking. Excellent. Now, for real, dear diary, good night. The president broke his ankle during the winter of '73, when he fell from a ladder. He was trying to reach a Christmas carol in a collection of cracked magazines from a high shelf in the White House library. He sought help from a natural healer and was able to recover from the broken ankle joint very quickly. The witch doctor, who was a famous healer through some parts of small villages in Marrakesh, flew in lickety-split when he received a call from the Joint Chiefs of Staff explaining that the president had broken his ankle when he fell from a ladder when he was trying to reach some books and magazines in the White House library. The magical witch doctor used multiple spices and smoky smoke therapy to fully heal Nixon's foot in just 34 minutes. It was rumored that he also used a special honey, extracted from bees, who only exist on Pluto's moons. Richard Nixon loved to eat, fully living, fish. He loved to play hockey. He was an avid motorcycle enthusiast. He had a sister, no one knew about, named Audrey Lucy Beth Jane Sally Annie Bertha Jennifer Gertrude Nixon. He was friends with the mothers of some of today's biggest stars. He was a devoted fan of music, often seen backstage at some of the biggest '70s rock concerts. He was friends with the parents of some of the most famous serial killers. But most of all, Richard Nixon, America's 37th president, really enjoyed ice cream.
I don't know if you thought that was real. Let me know in the comments. If you would be so kind as to like and subscribe, I appreciate that. As I say, don't share this video with anyone. Don't talk about it with anyone. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.